Welcome back, Bob the Vape and Computer Guy. Got a really nice mod today from Wismec. That's the Reuleaux Gen 3. So we got the Wismec Reuleaux Gen 3. They've really reduced the size on this thing. They sent me the green, which I really love, with the Gnome Tank on here. We're going to dive down to the table. I'm going to tell you everything about it, and then I'm going to tell you what I like and don't like. Okay, so today we're taking a look at the new Wismec Reuleaux RX GEN 3. As you can see, I have here in the nice neon green. Let's go over the package contents first of all, and then we'll take a look at the tank. You have your manual. All right, nice thick manual in many different languages. You have your, this is about the Gnome Tank, all right? You have your information on the different coils. You have your USB charger. You have the second coil that comes with it. And you have a spare, slightly smoked glass tank. All right. Also do get a second drip tip, which we'll look at as well, which is a standard 510. All right. Move this stuff aside for the moment. I've been using this, just ran out of some Royal chocolate mint that I had in there, so I'm not going to be able to use that coil with anything else because you can never get a chocolate mint taste out of a coil. So I'm going to pull out this coil, clean up the tank, and then we'll pop in this coil and we'll talk about it a little more. Alright, so now that we got the tank all cleaned up, let's pop out this coil. We'll go over the tank first and then we'll take a look at the mod afterwards. So this comes with two different coils. You got, this is the 0.2 ohm 40 to 130, I believe it is, on the wattage there. You also get a 0.15 ohm, which is what I had in there before. And they also do make a 0.4 ohm coil for this as well. And I'll put that up when we get to the specs. Let's get that in there. Now with the tank, when I did get it, the top part did have a little bit of machine oil on it, so I'd recommend washing it out good before you go to vape on it, like you should with any tank. Let's get that threaded on there. Come on. Just washed it so it's a little tight. Once you get that on there, there we go. Now it'll put together nice. All right. You got the JBO logo on here, and from that logo you push to fill. All right. That's a single slot, so if you put juice in too fast, you may have it back up on you a little bit. You want to go to the side a little bit. And I did have a slight bit of machining oil in there when I got it, so just make sure you wash these things out good. Now, airflow on the bottom here does go with a stopper. It feels extremely, when I first looked at this, like this could move on its own. It just moves very easily. But once it's on the device, this sits so flush that this is actually making a little contact with the device, and you do not have any problems with this turning on its own. At least I did not. All right, it comes with a Delrin drip tip. All right, but it is just a standard 510. And it does come with this second tip, which again is a standard 510. And when this tip is in, you cannot slide. This is actually going down to the bottom. You cannot slide open the fill. All right. This tip does not go as far down, and you can slide it open when that drip tip is in there. But that's what they've been doing lately with the longer drip tip, that when it slides down, it actually goes past that second hole and prevents you from sliding it open. All right. So some measurements on the tank. Let's leave it with the Delrin drip tip on there, since that's the way I've been using it and liking it. All right. Does not taper out at all, so the actual size of the tank is a 25 millimeter tank. With the drip tip on there, you got 40.6, and if you want to know what the other drip tip on there, you got 44.1. okay, so it does not taper out, so that is the size of the tank the whole time. And so far this tank has been performing excellent. With the other coil that I had in there, it was wonderful. Taste was absolutely great on it. They do say there's either 2 or 4 milliliter of capacity. So right now, the way it's configured here, you're only going to get 2 milliliters in there. The way you have to get the 4 milliliters, which I haven't done yet, and we're going to do together right now, I'll show you. Alright, so what you have to do is you open it up, And they do this for the EU. They have to make it not hold more than 2 milliliters of e-juice. But what you can do, and this was their clever way of getting around it, is you can take the tank and look at that large silicone ring in there. All right? The juice fill is through here, and that is kind of a seal. But we should be able to pull that out and free up additional space in there. All right? Let's see if we pop this off. You slide that. You can see down there, I don't know if you can, but basically that O-ring is in here. Okay? It's in there on the sides. So, can you see that? If we go down in here and go to pull that out, we may have to rip it out, which would make sense because they're really making it look like something you're not going to just do anywhere. So that for the EU, it does fit, you know, their compliance with their laws. Let's see how we're going to get that out of there. I may have to do it off camera for a second so I can see it a little better. Alright, so I didn't get it all the way out yet, but I wanted to show you how I was going to go about it because I could see it start to come out. The O-ring is not just here, it actually runs inside here as well. And using just something sharp like this, as you can see, you can get in there and get it out. Alright, I'm going to get that little hook under there. And there we go. Let's get that out of there. I feel like I'm gutting an animal. And there we go, we just ripped out the gizzards. So there's that big stopper in there, look at that. And, wow, look at that. So you actually have, see the holes in there? I don't think, they're not going all the way through. They're just, they're not really going all the way through there. They're just partial. So, with that out, you're going to be able to hold a lot more juice in there. Now, you can fill that right up to the top probably on there. We're going to have to try this out and see how well it works. But I think that's the whole idea, is that when this is in there, that's taking up 2 milliliters of space in there, and it complies with the EU. Now that it's out, I can actually smell some of that royal chocolate was still in there. So I'm going to wash this out again, put the coil back in, and then we're going to fill her up and see that it really does hold 4 milliliters. Alright, so I got that all washed up and cleaned up, and without that silicone spacer thing in there, we should have a lot more room. Let's take our glass, throw it back on top, and you should put the glass onto the top first and give it a twist as you put it on so you don't break it, but it actually does go onto the top tight, and then you can see it's sitting around that O-ring, and then when it goes down the bottom, it's just placed on there. So you do want to get that onto the top portion first. Alright, and actually before I do that, we should get some, well, you can drop it in the top there, you can drop your juice in there. We do want to wet those coils, and now instead of just being capacity up to here, it should go right up to here. Alright, so let me get some e-juice. Alright, got some of this Chubby Bubble Vapes Bubble Raz. I'll open this back up just so you can see how we prime the coil. A couple of drops on each one. Those coils aren't tremendous, so 2 drops in each one will help it get saturated. Then what it's going to do is we're going to measure it and see if we actually get 4 milliliters in there, okay? So let's get a syringe. Alright, we got a 10 milliliter syringe here. Let's load it up without getting juice all over my work area here. Alright, so I got about 5 milliliters in the syringe, a little bit of air in there, but it's certainly good enough for now. Airflow on the bottom is closed off. I'm going to slide this open. Let's see how much we actually get in there. So we're down 1 milliliter in the bottom. Let's start going in here until we got 3 milliliters in there already. 2 remaining. Getting close to that top there. Well, there you go. You can see I got 1 milliliter left on the syringe, and it was 5 in there, so that's 4 milliliters filled right to the top there. Alright, let's close that off. Let that sit for a minute, and I'm going to put this juice back in the bottle. So there you go. Without that rubber stopper, you do get 4 milliliters of juice filling that right up to the top. Alright, I'm actually going to use this drip tip in here just so I don't accidentally slide that open at all when it's that full. And there you go. So I think it's a nice looking tank. This is the 0.2 coil. What did I say I had in there before? The 0.15 ohm coil. The 0.15, which is actually was rated for a lower wattage. The 0.15 coil, I think, was rated 30 to 70, and the 0.2 is rated at 40 to 130. The other coil was just vaping great. It was wonderful taste on there. I'm going to pop this back on here now. Alright. Airflow is definitely stiffer now, so it is touching the bottom, which is good. I didn't like how loose it was before, but it's fitting fine now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's turn on our display. Alright. 55 watts, 3.3 volts, 0.2 ohm coil. So I had 284 puffs. I had reset that at some point. I've done more than that on it by now for sure. I was just playing around with all the settings in there. 3 batteries. And let's go over the basics. The basics are pretty much the same. The display is very nice. It's not super bright. I wish it was a little brighter, but other than that, I like the layout of it. And 1, 2, 3, and you're into your modes, and you can go to power mode, temperature nickel, your TCR modes, back to power mode. If you go to temperature and then you go left, now you switch over to nickel, and you can choose your different types of temperature control coils. Okay, then you can go down here, and you can set the power level, the wattage, and the temperature will be set once you engage it. So let's say you throw that up here at 100 watts. Oh, it doesn't matter. We'll just leave it wherever it stops. All right, 107. You go to the left. That's up and down at that point. 1, 2, 3. And again, you're back into the temperature control menu. TCR, back to power. All right, when you're in power mode, you can go down here and you can change puff counter to time, to amps. I'm going to leave it on amps. All right, so I can actually see the actual ampage being pulled from the batteries. I like that better. I don't know why I had it on the other one before. All right, left and the fire button will put you in stealth mode. So when you vape, it'll stay off. Left and the fire button, stealth mode off. Right and the fire button, and that's how you can do your preheat, and if you want to use that, and you can also turn the logo on and off. And you can download your own logos or download logos from them on the website, and you can send that in here. So I didn't even go over showing you so much of the device yet. Kind of a little bit of a reverse order here, starting with the tank and going backwards. So let's finish up the display, and then we'll go over just looking at the device itself. Okay, both buttons at the same time will lock the device. Key locking does not stop you from firing. It only locks you from changing the wattage or the temperature, which is nice. That's the way it should be. Key lock and it's off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's off. When it's off, pressing both buttons at the same time will reverse your display. Press them again. Reverse the display. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're back on. Yeah, so there you go. That's the basics of that. Let's look at the actual device itself. Like I said, I have the nice neon green here, which I really like. I think it's the best color out of it. There's a little bit of venting here on both sides, okay? And I have some MXJO batteries in there. Don't start saying you don't like MXJO batteries. I know a lot of people don't. These work fine for me. But you can see the batteries coming through there. So that's your venting. Obviously, this is like the same style. It looks like this would pop off. It does not, like in the original Reuleaux. Batteries are all through the bottom. All right, clearly marked positive, positive, negative. It is also clearly marked inside there. If you can see that, positive, positive, negative. The sled is nice. The door actually is very good. I found no problems with it. It's you know, it doesn't close once you get to this point. It's tight, but down here it's not spring loaded. All right, put it in, close, slide down. No problems with the door whatsoever. It's been staying on and working great. You have your USB for charging and firmware upgrading. It is balanced charging, so if you do use this to charge, you can charge the 3 batteries in there safely. Although Wismec, even on their site, says they do recommend using an external charger, but if you want to use the internal charger, it does have the balanced charging. All right, and like I said, it is firmware upgradable. You got the Wismec name on both sides. You got the JBO logo on the fire button there. Let's take this off again. You can see the 510 is recessed. The whole 510 with the threading seems to be below this one solid piece base, so I don't think you have to worry about that coming up or out in any way. I don't think it could sink down because there really is no room for anywhere for it to go. It is spring-loaded 510. and it is a very tight spring. Okay. On that tank, let's just go over the bottom there so you could just see that bottom. It is slightly protruding, but I still don't recommend using this on any other mech devices. You know, use it on regulated devices for safety. All right. Tank looks nice. The mod looks nice. The size of the mod is excellent. It just fits nice in the hand. I've had zero problems with this. No problems with the fire button. No problem with selecting the selection buttons. Everything has been working rock solid on it. Let's go back up now. We'll talk about it, and I'll tell you my overall feelings about it. Okay, so there you go. That is the Wismec Reuleaux Gen 3. I'm really enjoying this. I mean, in terms of the mod, you know, pros, triple 18650, the smallest 18650 triple device. Did this in the first look video, but if you compare the size between the two, between the original and this one, you compare, it's about the same, only slightly smaller. You know, it's almost exactly the same in terms of actual footprint space. But it's the height that really gets you there. You know, when you're taking off a good half an inch across the top there, it makes the device just great. It fits nice in the hand. Button works good. Everything works good. It doesn't get hot. Looks like a door, but it's not a door. You got nice venting. It really feels good in the hand. It's, you know, if you have an average size hand like I do, you know, your finger kind of goes underneath it, you know, like that. You know, I mean, you can hold it like that, but, you know, you find your finger goes underneath, kind of like a compact handgun that doesn't have an extension on the clip, if that helps you at all. But anyway, it fits really good in the hand. The device is working perfectly. I really like the device a lot. No problems with it whatsoever. The menu is nice. It's easy. It's clear to see. You know, just everything about the device, perfect. No problems with the device at all. The tank. For the most part, no problems with the tank. You get 2 different coils that it comes with. There's 3 different coils available for it. It comes with a 0.15 and a 0.2, and there's also a 0.4 available for it. You saw how you could take out that rubber inside and make it a 4 milliliter tank. Beautiful, love it. Right now, I have the 0.2 coil in here. I had the 0.15 in here. Flavor on it was wonderful. Like I said, I used it with a chocolate mint flavor, so I couldn't reuse that coil after a couple of days once I ran out of that juice. But now I got the 0.2 ohm coil in here, and I'm vaping at 80 watts. Battery life, if you're vaping in the 50, 60 watt range, you can get 2 full days out of it, which is pretty standard for a triple 18650 device in that range. If you're vaping something like this, about 80 watts, you're going to get a day out of it if you're a heavy vapor, you know, which is great. Be able to get a full day at 80 watts is nice. The only issue I've had is once that stopper, that, you know, extra piece of silicone is removed from there, you got the 4 milliliter tank. If you're chain vaping this back to back at 80 watts or above, the tank does get hot. I have not had the drip tip get hot, but more than one occasion when I'm sitting there and vaping, taking, you know, like 10 hits in a row in a 5-minute period, just chain vaping, the tank did get quite hot, to the point that just touching it like this was difficult. All right, but again, that's heavy chain vaping. Without that, I guess that rubber stopper, the silicone in there, seemed to be absorbing some of that heat. So once I pulled that out, then I started noticing that issue of the temperature. But again, that's only on the tank, only in extreme back-to-back vaping at 80 watts or above. Other than that, I've had no problems whatsoever. The tank's been good, the flavor's been good. There are no cons of it aside from that one. Other than that, it's just beautiful. I'm very happy with it. I think it's working well. I cannot give any reason not to get it. So I'll put a link to Wismec's site on this, but I think it's definitely a winner for the size, the shape, the feel. It's just a good overall device. Works well, and I'm very happy with it. So there you go. That's my recommendation on the Wismec Reuleaux Gen 3, and I will see you next time.